places, one camp a minute.
You
know.
The Tryndamere first ban here from Team Dynamics. Kuzan very happy about that one, as you could see on your screen. That Lucian ban has been a staple throughout this entire tournament, but makes a lot more sense when up against Team Dynamics. Kuzan, of course, a fantastic Lucian player. Love to play it all the time in that mid lane. And let's see exactly how this one goes. Plus, we need to also work out how we're going to pronounce 5 Kid. Are we going to call him Skid? Because I have a feeling that 5 is supposed to be an S.
I think it's O-Kid.
I know his solo queue ID is O-Kid, yeah.
Yeah, so 5 in Korea. Korean is pronounced O.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I think it's just O-Kid.
But if we call him O-Kid in the cast, people are not going to know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you've never been with me when MVP used to play with Ed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
ADD? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we shipped him off to the LPL,
Yeah.
so we don't have to deal with that one anymore.
To deal with that. But what we do have to deal with is okay, never mind. I thought it was going to be a Garen hover. Instead, Sandra is going to be locked in first here.
That's an easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, that is pretty easy.
That's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, Sandra. Or Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy's good.
You know?
We can go for some abbreviations if the need arises. Looking at the bans, the only interesting one was the Tryndamere, I guess, but Camille is also a strange ban to come through here. ASURA thinking about going for some sort of Yasuo combo. I'd expect a Gragas to come in here and is going to be locked in without waiting too long. I really hope this is mid-jungle and not bot lane, because the bot lane Yasuo Gragas combos, even looking back to Worlds, have just not been working like they did during the middle of the season in 2019. So let's see exactly what ASURA are going to make of this. As Team Dynamics, this is the Olaf. Oh my! If this is Olaf Aatrox, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
Well, Olaf is locked in, so no matter what, if that is going to be a mid lane Syndra, they will have a lot of control from the mid and jungle.
See whether FaZe might want to pick up that Syndra, but that's going to be the Mordekaiser, so thankfully not an Aatrox this time around. Mord, very strong up towards that top side. Let's see whether those undertows are going to be on point, whether that Mord can get a bit out of control if he collects any ganks from good old Ganknam.
It is going to be a Mordekaiser going in blind, and Fiora now being hovered. This is one of Mordekaiser's roughest matchups, and it can definitely tug at the Olaf and try to demand some assistance for the Mordekaiser, and this is, you know, one of the things that can end up happening if you end up blinding this champion. Now, remember, Syndra is able to be flexed into the bottom lane, so it's not like it's a impossible thing to happen here, whereas maybe ASURA is thinking that they're going up against mid Syndra.
That's a good point. And to be honest, if that's going to be a Yasuo in the mid lane potentially, then there might be a way for a counter pick for the Fiora to come through and then Mordekaiser to be flexed towards that mid lane. We'll see what happens, because of course, Rich and Kuzan could certainly be going into any lane that they want to. The bans are coming through here. I really like picking up the Olaf and then banning the Lee Sin, even if the Gragas could theoretically be going into the jungle, because we've been seeing Lee Sin win that matchup every single time, and it almost got boring, the outcome of those particular games. So thankfully not going to happen here, as Thresh is taken off the board. Just getting rid of that aggression towards the bottom side up against Team Dynamics. Guga not going to be getting his hands on some comfort picks, and Team Dynamics with one last ban.
Team Dynamics deciding on their last ban. When you see bans like Thresh Leona, especially when it's going in blind, it would suggest to me that you want to have the option to pick a mage down in the bottom roll, but they have counterpick reserved on red side, so it's not like they needed to necessarily ban Thresh and Leona if the opponents weren't going to go into those champions, because neither of those champions are necessarily anything that would be able to be picked blind. And now Team Dynamics, they're going to respond to the Senna with Varus, and then they're going to go very quickly there with the Nautilus. So Team Dynamics' team composition is extremely mid-rangey in the sense that this is a team composition that is very powerful at 1 and 2 items, and then beyond that, it starts slowing down, it starts deaccelerating. And if the enemy can just stabilize, things can be pretty okay for them. But now, Aurelia lock in last.
Does that mean we're going to see our first support center? Looks like it's probably going to be the case, as it's going to be support center over on top of the Yasuo carry by good old O-Kid, or 5Kid, as we're probably going to have to call him. Otherwise, we'll need to keep explaining why he's O-Kid so many times. But yeah, I like it. Looks like it's going to be... what is it? It's normally Summoner Airy when you're going support on the center, because you can sort of double dip onto Summoner Airy's shielding and extra damage, given what you're going to be doing. Of course, we see a lot of glacial augments and Dark Harvest coming in if she's 80 carry, but that's not going to be the case here. Looks like ASURA have got a really interesting composition, whereas on the side of Team Dynamics, they've gone very standard.
Well, yeah, they have gone a lot more traditional, although the Yasuo Gragas, we're going to have to see how this works out for them. Every single lane for ASURA is extremely volatile, and Dynamic have complete control in the early stages, so we'll see if they can actually stabilize, because if they can't, I imagine that we're actually going to see a blowout. Very akin to the first series of the day.
Yeah, especially given that power, like you were talking about, on 1 and 2 items for Team Dynamics. It looks like they do want to make this one short and sweet and get into game number 2 without any problems arising. Also does have a lot of, I don't know, flexibility in this roster as well as we get into game number 1, Team Dynamics versus ASURA. Team Dynamics, Hana, do, set. Well, there's that one guy. Do you want to do ASURA?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do this up.
You go. It's you. Come on.
There was no one.
Oh, no, not even the fan
There was
chant
no one
leader.
again. Yeah, I just,
Oh.
I can't even believe that
You
we
were
did 'em like
supposed
that.
to find them.
Well, it's Christmas. Everyone's right now. They're currently out to dinner.
No, they're not. This is Korea. They're shopping.
What?
They're shopping. It's a shopping holiday.
I don't want to talk to you.
I mean, I was in the department store today, and damn,
Yeah, you were looking for
it
Santa
is
hats.
standing room only. Yeah, I couldn't find one.
Yeah,
I made the unfortunate decision of bringing some Christmas gear, but it was green, and we are currently chroma keying with a green screen, and it means that my hat is invisible, which is not so good.
You know, it's not invisible. Let's invade.
Yeah, that's
My Team Dynamics, you like that? You like that smooth transition?
that was very nice.
Yeah,
very very nice.
You know, I mean, you're single. I feel like I just did a pretty good job.
Yeah, you did a great job there. I don't know whether it's relevant.
I don't know, but Syndra just stole red.
She did.
So she's on a date.
Oh, look. Just threw Mr. Bramble back in there to say
Look
hi
at
to
how
Shelly.
angry
Shelly's
Gragas
not there
is.
yet.
What is Gragas even doing? He walked into the river to place a ward. That was important.
Yeah.
He could have instead spent his time.
That's a dredge line.
Okay, well.
There's some darkness down here, but FaZe getting a lot of damage down onto O-Kid. And yeah, this is why you don't really walk up to lane as a Yasuo at this stage, but does land the Tornado, trades back relatively well. I don't know quite how the Yasuo center lane is going to work necessarily. You can understand the center pickup in the support position just because you can, I guess, counteract some of the range advantage, but this is looking to be a dive at 2.5 minutes in. There's the flow, it goes down. It is going to be a little bit of mismanagement when it comes to target selection, but look at that turret tanking. It's just beautiful. And that Yasuo, absolutely nothing he could do. Just enough minions to get the Olaf out very comfortably.
Yeah, they get the kill onto the Senna. They get a lot of the summoners, and now Olaf, he is just so healthy. And you can also see Gragas. He's been stunted so much by that early Syndra play, just walking over, taking the red buff and throwing it. And he just now completed the blue buff in Gangnam's blue side jungle, as Olaf is, I mean, he's barreling right down towards that blue side jungle. So he's going to, at the very least, be able to get his wolves, but we'll see if they end up getting into a skirmish over at the Scuttle Crab. It does look like priority was able to be reestablished by the Sandra. in mid lane, but Fiora might get a solo kill.
Yeah, exactly. Rich has popped that W. He's trying to keep himself alive. Flashes out of the way. There is the lunge, but it's the 1-for-1 trade in the end. Still, probably going to be a little bit more money going over to Team Dynamics, given the fact that there was the assist. However, this is exactly what you were talking about before. Extremely difficult matchup for the Mordekaiser top side of the map.
And now the transition out of this will be Kanknom. He's going to manage to get the Scuttle Crab. He should be able to get both Scuttle Crabs, and then because of bot priority, get Gromp. Taking another look at the replay here, and it's a pretty cookie-cutter dive.
Yeah. It's navigated relatively well, though, given the fact that Guga was able to hold on to the turret aggro for as long as he wants. In the meantime, you saw Gangbong going down extraordinarily low in the mid lane. He's going to stick around, but it is going to give Kuzan the cheetah recall that he was looking for, and a very comfortable one at that.
Here's Olaf getting that Scuttle Crab for himself. You can see, though, that Gragas, interestingly enough, not really falling super far behind right now. He's already on the Wolf camp.
Yeah, I feel like the
even
sacrifice for
CS.
Gangnam was more towards the bottom side, going for that dive, grabbing that kill. So
Yeah.
1-0 and 1 now. As he helped bot, helped top as well, and now he's going to be okay. I sort of want to address anyone that's thinking about, you know, the damage range of this ASURA squad. You might be thinking, like, with a Gragas that's relatively behind, it's going to be not a lot of magic damage available. It's not as important when you've got a Yasuo on your team if he's doing decently well. Purely because his ultimate does cut down 50% of the armor of your targets anyway. So you are going to be doing relevant damage after your ultimate goes off for a fair chunk of time, regardless of your damage array and the armor of your opponents. So not as much of a big deal.
And right now, I mean, Team Dynamics, speaking about armor and MR, they did just pick up the Mountain Dragon, and I feel like the Dragons, especially with Riot having re-nerfed them again, I think they're really, really grossly overvalued. Olaf, for instance, just got himself 3 armor and 2 magic resistance. You hear everyone
That's
cheering?
not a lot.
Did anyone, you hear the cheers right now for that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's just like the
no one
ASURA fan in the crowd. All right, no one's cheering about 3 armor and 2 MR, but it will scale into the later stages. But no one builds armor or MR early, and even if you do, the amplification isn't big enough. We got a really heavy trade. So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
pause.
a pretty nutty exhaust that came out there as FaZe is going to flash forward. The answering flash is their max range on the dredge line, and Guga snaps away that kill. FaZe relatively low, but IDK can't get any damage back on top of him. It's a 2-for-0 in the bottom lane, and this is going from bad to worse so fast.
Yeah, and it's a really haphazard type of kill to occur because your jungler's not on that side of the map. It means that Yasuo and Sen are going to fall really far behind.
Well,
And
Rich
Mordekaiser
has that W available, so should survive at least for the moment, as the Death Realm was down. This is the gank attempt, and it is going to be successful. It was dicey towards the end there, but all's well that ends well.
Well, they do manage to get the Fiora ahead, and honestly, she's going to be the only win condition that they're going to have now, I would say, at this point in the game, even though the Aurelia is doing just fine in the mid lane. Also has the Negatron, so really gimping Syndra's damage.
Yeah, it
But
looks
the
to be that
Varus-
Wits End build to come through from Gangbong at the moment. He might be a ticket to safety in the mid game, but they're going to need... It's going to need to be a good one. It's going to need to be a VIP ticket to the mid game, you know?
Yeah. Sure, they're only down a couple hundred gold, and it's mostly all due to, in part, the top lane matchup. So really important that they rotated Mordekaiser on B3 blind. That's really great. That was a fantastic...
And actually, I thought that Team Dynamics might have a little bit more of a plan here for what to do with the Mordekaiser, but instead they just were basically ignoring their opponent's strategy. You saw Rich was able to sidestep some of the riposts, but the reason why this matchup is so incredibly hard is generally as soon as Death's Grasp comes out, that's a guaranteed riposte stun no matter what, just because it's so telegraphed.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, bottom side of the map, great double knock up. There's the Q for the extra kill as they're going for it. There's even more damage here. Charged up the passive on this Varus, and there is nothing Juhan can do. after getting a 2v2 double kill, make that a triple, all the kills going to the Varus.
Yeah, and Yasuo wasn't able to do anything right there with the Gragas. He's still level 5, as Varus is level 7, Guger level 6 currently right now. And honestly, that's lights out now in the bottom lane. There's not going to be any more attempts at trying to salvage it. If there was going to be an opportunity to do so, it would have been just there. But now with Olaf getting himself the Herald, we're going to see if he elects to use this in either mid or top lane. I think the correct decision would just be to save it, use it for the enhanced recall, get down into bottom. We take another look at the 2v2. Senna lining right up for that like she was...
Yeah, she was asking for it a little bit.
She was asking for it, you know, to be a little bit honest. As Gragas didn't quite have the damage to kill Yasuo in one, or to kill Varus in one rotation. Varus able to just shred through everyone there.
Yeah, that was absolutely terrifying. Now has Blade of the Ruined King, even more sustain, even more control, and even more problems for ASURA, bottom side of the map. Thankfully, they're making up for it top side with a 20 CS advantage on regank. Bramble Vest even forced out here by Rich, which will be helpful. Gives him that Grievous Wounds passive that I know you're a massive fan of. On the side of LS right there, yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm no stranger. I like it.
Yeah, okay.
It's all right.
You just don't like it when it comes in the form of a book?
His only job right now inside of this game is to just stop dying. At this point. And as long as he manages to do that, it's going to be pretty hard for Team Dynamics to actually lose the mid-game transition. They're going to definitely be able to pick up this Cloud Dragon here as soon as it spawns. Olaf already in close proximity. One of the more surprising things, though, is the pathing out of the Olaf. Yes, he did pick up the Rift Herald. He got the early game kill, but the CS differential, he's actually behind of Gragas ever so slightly. He's going to pick up this Cloud Dragon right now. And the ideal dragon for Team Dynamics to roll would probably just be Infernal.
And that's going to be it.
Okay, well,
nicely done. Look at you. And we've got another Earth, Wind, and Fire, this time in perfect order as well. Love it. Absolutely love it. As the Infernal Rift does come out. And so all of those brushes being burnt down. There's a whole lot of gaps in the red side jungle, as you can see. It's a wide open map. And Team Dynamics probably going to be pretty happy about that as well. So let's see whether Rich can recover and whether this bottom lane can run out of control on Team Dynamics side, or whether ASURA can just hold down the fort and allow this Fiora to continue wreaking havoc. Feel like we've got opposing win conditions on these two teams.
Well, the Infernal Soul is going to also come online super fast as a potential threat to truly end the game. Very akin to the Baron, because we can assume that Team Dynamics, they're going to be able to pick it up immediately as soon as the third dragon spawns, and then that's threatening Infernal Soul right around the same time as Baron, which is a pretty
that's
problematic threat for ASURA to try to handle. Fiora is still very, very far away from being able to threaten a side lane split push that could threaten anything meaningful right now.
And I actually think Team Dynamics can abuse Infernal Soul really effectively with the champions that they have. Even Olaf's Undertow is going to hurt with some of that burn damage applied on top of it. Shelly pokes her head out here in the mid lane, and we'll be able to get a decent chunk through these plates. As you can see right there, only 2 more remain, as we've got 12.5 minutes on the clock, 1.5 minutes before those plates are going to be taken down. And so far, you can see 1 plate missing in that mid lane, but there's a whole tower that's done, and only 1 more plate remains in mid. There's just way more global gold that's been taken here by Team Dynamics. They are very strong. Gangnam now going to move over, counter jungles this blue buff, and Kuzan going to steal that one away. As Rich, underneath this turret now, does have the ultimate online, but isn't going to pull the trigger just yet. Oh man, these lunges are even starting to hurt. As Juhunt throws out a barrel, and Rich just gets flashed on. It's all too easy. He is at the mercy of this ASURA top jungle duo.
And everyone right now on Team Dynamics are just basically saying, like, I get it, you're in LoL, but can you please stop dying right now up in top lane? Because the rest of the game is just so easy right now if not for this Fiora, this is that doomsday scenario when you're playing solo queue and the game just feels really easy, but that one teammate.
Yep, there's that one guy, or the one opposing guy.
Refuse. They want to feel like they're contributing to the team. So they just can't. They can't just dial it back a little bit. You know what I mean? So
it's when you overly aggressively try and prove that you're not a bad player when actually you just don't have the items to do that. Maybe prove that in the next game. And you know, there's some people that that never learned how to lose lane gracefully. You know, because sometimes you can't help but lose your lane. Sometimes the Gragas is there, he takes you down, and Rich just hasn't been giving Regank the ground that he deserves and has been punished for it over and over again. Juhan just going to clear out his red buff here, and he's been farming very nicely. 14 in the lead now. About 3 camps and a couple of stray creeps in the lead.
Another thing that's really bizarre is also Mordekaiser's build. He has the Haunting guys, but I guess he's not opting into Liandry's. He has a Ruby Crystal.
Yeah, looking
I just
for
don't
the
know where he's
Rylai's
going.
first.
Yeah, it's, well, I mean, is that even what he's going for? I don't even know. Is he going Thornmail first item? I have absolutely no idea what this Choose Your Own Adventure is, but...
I assume it's Bramble Vest just for lane, and then hold on to a Ruby Crystal, turn it into a Rylai's, but he's getting abused. Gets stunned up. There's the body slam. Perfectly ranged it, but it is going to be the Death Realm, and Juhan tanks it up for as long as he can. Just standing on the edge there. As you can see, W now available again as Kuzan comes down and defends his top laner. There's the ult that comes out, but there's not exactly the Dawning Shadows that we're looking for here out of IDK, and he has to run for the hills. In the meantime, Shirley is going to be taken, and Team Dynamics move towards where they're strong. We need to go back to FaZe and just how incredibly powerful he is with his 600 gold bounty. They take down the top outer turret, and the outer ring is all completely destroyed now.
Yeah, I mean, this game definitely does look very similar to the Gen.G games from earlier on, where now they're going to pick up another Infernal Dragon, and now they're also threatening Infernal Soul around the same exact time that Baron's going to be coming up. And with Fiora having just died down there, Mordekaiser getting a lot off of this kill down here in bot lane. We see how it all transpires. Senna gets the root onto Mordekaiser, but Death Realm locking Gragas underneath the turret. He flashed for it. It was a nice R, but they didn't know that Syndra was just looming on the horizon. And that was a really nice ability usage right there by Kuzan, also able to lock up Regank. And, I mean, yeah, Mordekaiser really outplayed them right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's just got a lot of mechanics that you can employ.
Yeah, he had a
That's
teammate.
the thing. Yeah. He's just, I'm going to use my Kuzan ability. And the Kuzan ability was absolutely fantastic. I like the riposte out of Regank, kept him alive for a lot longer than I was expecting anyway, so that's smooth. Rich actually went back and just fully completed the Liandry's. Still holding on to a whole bunch of components here as well as his refillable potion, so a little bit unfortunate that no control wards can be picked up, but sometimes you just want 400 health instead, and that's just more important.
Well, now in this game, Dynamics, they're not obligated to really do anything. Fiora, she is continuing to scale up, and it will continue to be the only win condition that ASURA is going to have going for them. They're never going to be able to win a straight-up team fight. Their champions are just way too far behind, and it's not a situation in the game where you would ever want Fiora to join with the rest of her teammates and then hope to have some sort of a miracle engagement. So at this point, the game for ASURA just becomes trying to juggle the side lane pressure that Team Dynamics is going to put out, and then trying to ensure that your Fiora can get to Trinity Force and then try to start threatening something meaningful. And if you can, by some miracle, I guess, deny the Infernal Soul going over to Team Dynamics.
Yeah, that's going to have to be some sort of crazy steal coming out from Juhan. But, you know, crazy things have happened. We'll see whether that's going to happen here. As 5,000 gold is the lead. We're sieging with Shirley here on this inner turret, and there is nothing that O-Kid can do, or 5Kid, or Skid, depending on what you feel like calling it. But it is pronounced O-Kid. Death's Grasp doesn't find anything, but Shirley does find the turret, and that's even more gold that they have in their advantage. Inner in the top lane, it's all just going to hell in a handbag, guys. The Aurelia can't move up, no wave clear whatsoever, and this is what happens. They've just got no range wave clear at all. I mean, Gragas is the closest thing to that because IDK doesn't do any damage. He does have a serrated Dirk, newly buffed, but he's a 0-3-0 center that just does not do enough damage to anything at this stage of the game.
Well, this is going to be the only song and a dance that is still possible right now for ASURA. Fiora not quite able to raise the bottom tier 2 turret, and not really too much going on here either. As Mordekaiser didn't have to push this lane out as fast as he did. There's a certain F word I'm a pretty big fan of, but...
Is it a chilly word?
It's a little cold.
It's a little chilly? Okay, okay. I think I have an idea of what it might be. Might have something to do with this 40 CS advantage that Fiora does have set up. Also, Trinity Force complete. And look, you were talking about a power spike. We've been waiting. We found it. And let's see whether Regank can actually do anything with it. Because, well, actually, I think talking about Regank doing anything with it, I don't think is the issue here. I think that the rest of ASURA needs to be able to play the best game of defense with, like, terrible tools that they've ever played, right?
Yeah.
Because they need to try and defend a lot of range damage, a lot of poke, a lot of dive with just nothing to respond to it with. As Guga comes in, they're going to try and find themselves a riposte, but they don't get it onto the priority target, and that is a very dead Fiora. That's what happens when we decide to bring our Fed member to kill the one Fed player on the enemy team.
Yeah, that did not really look like that fair of a fight. And now with Fiora continuing to just get killed over and over sometimes at very key points in the game. I mean, this is 1 minute out until Infernal.
Wow.
Fiora doesn't get anything during her death, so she's just been removed from the map, and ASURA is not going to be able to achieve anything. And that's just going to mean that Team Dynamics, they're going to get themselves an Infernal Soul unless something goes catastrophically wrong.
Well, counter engage comes in. Death's Grasp comes down as Juhan. He's going to get depth charged, but immediately the Death Realm does come in. Rich gets that kill, destroys it, in fact, as, yeah. Gangbong, you're not going to have an opportunity there. Dives back in. I think he might have been out of range, which I assume is why you were exclaiming just a little bit there, LS. But this is going to be base broken. Mid lane is going to be the avenue that Team Dynamics take, and with 2 dead, might be an opportunity to push further, but that is a very low health bar on the Nautilus, and they do decide to pull away. Great little stun there from Kuzan, who's been relatively quiet this game. He's paid some visits towards the bottom side. He stole a Bramble back, but otherwise not too much going on. And welcome to Dragon Soul, guys. Here's the Infernal Soul to be picked up by Team Dynamics just on their way past.
Yeah, 21.5 minutes is going to be the Infernal Soul going over to Team Dynamics. And I mean, with that, there's no way they're going to ever lose this game.
No.
From this point forward, Elder now will be triggered to spawn, which means that ASURA, it's going to be pretty much lights out. We're going to take a look at this replay. I like the intent of what Gragas is trying to do. Had he actually input all of the commands in a smoother fashion, might have been able to actually pick up the Nautilus kill there. But instead, everything gets turned around. Aurelia gets chain CC'd. Take a look at that. As the Mordekaiser didn't quite actually have the range to pull her back in, but I guess Aurelia thought that she was going to go down shortly thereafter anyway.
I mean, there was a Cloud Drake, so theoretically Team Dynamic were just going to be faster to catch up, but I don't know. Well, might have been a possibility for her to escape.
And then
we'll never know, though.
Mord built Proto Belt, second item.
Yeah.
Alice, I don't...
It's like 2.5 item.
Yeah, I'm not really quite... I'm not...
You got to get that mobility.
I mean, I'm just waiting for Syndra to complete an Oblivion Orb and try to go Morellonomicon. I mean, that would...
Yeah, that's
that'd
got to
really
be
the icing on the cake, yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't build Void Staff here. That's silly. Third item Void Staff is a thing of the past. As our Phantom Dancer came in as third item here, speaking of third items for FaZe, he is very, very strong. It's a hell of a lot of attack speed and now has a little bit of extra defense as well, as we're just going to avoid the kill onto the Gragas as this 1v1's happening on the bottom side. There's the riposte. That's the important part as Rich just decides to dash over the Fiora and eventually does get the kill anyway. So the 1v1 now being won by the Mordekaiser, and that is a certain sign that this game is done.
Yeah. It's pretty much all that she wrote as Varus does way too
What
much
was
damage.
He
That was
got
a really
pushed
nice hook.
Back into the piercing arrow there as well. So double kill now for the Varus. Guga goes golden. We're going to make it a triple. Was that the quadra? Yes, it was. If only Regank wasn't dead, we would have had an opportunity for a pentakill. But we'll take quadras, and we'll move towards game 2 with Team Dynamics in the lead. A 1-0 start here from the team that we expected to be strong, but they look like they're having fun as well on Summoner's Rift here today. So looking good.